What's going on, everybody? It's Joel here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the FLYEASE Nike Metcon 6. Alright guys, so this is basically just going to be a little update review in addition to the full-on Nike Metcon 6 review that I had put out a couple of weeks ago or so. If you want to know more about the Nike Metcon 6 in terms of like performance, what I thought about it as a training shoe in a whole, make sure that you check out that video. I'll leave the link in the description if you already haven't checked it out. Today we're going to be talking about the Metcon 6 FLYEASE technology, or the FLYEASE technology that they have included in the Nike Metcon 6. So at first glance, it pretty much just looks like a Nike Metcon 6. It's not a whole lot different. If I covered up this area of the shoe, you wouldn't notice any difference between the standard Metcon and the FLYEASE one. But the main difference is really just this rear spoiler of the Metcon 6, or that's what I like to call it because that's kind of what it looks like. The front part of the shoe, or the vamp, is pretty much the same. It's still got that new mesh that's 18% more breathable than the Metcon 5's mesh. That has not changed at all. But what I really do like about this colorway is that this gray, it looks like white in like the stock photos, but it's actually gray. It does a really good job of like hiding dirt. You can't really tell that it's dirty. And the shoe, even though I've put this shoe through a lot, looks still pretty clean. And I, by now, would be like trying to wash my shoes, but for these, I haven't really been bothered by like the amount of dirt that's on it. So I really like that about it. So at the moment, the FLYEASE Metcon 6 comes in 3 different colorways for the guys and for the girls. For the guys, you have the Tokyo 2020 Olympics colorway, which is this teal, gray, black colorway. And then the swoosh is like a orange peachish color to purple. I really like this colorway. In pictures, it looks a lot lighter, but then when you get it, it has that gray look to it, and then the green, I don't know. This teal is like one of my favorite colorways, or colors, so I really like this colorway personally. And then you do have the Camo colorway, which I think this is probably the most popular colorway of the Metcon 6 in general, which has the camo in the front area of the shoe, which like the vamp area, and then you kind of have like a volt swoosh, volt lace loops, and then you do have more like little volt details, like the little stitching on the side here, the stitching on the tongue, the Metcon logo there, and then on the other side as well. The Metcon logo is on the medial side. It's just kind of like a little laminated part on the quarter panel of the shoe. And then there is also a little swoosh at the very back of the shoe. And then, of course, you have the gum outsole, which, you know, people really love. And then a little bit of volt in the insole, drop in midsole. And that's it for this colorway. And then the last colorway for the guys is like a black, white, and silver colorway, kind of like a Raiders colorway. And then I think the ladies have the leopard, they have the Tokyo colorway, and then they have, I think, another like black, white, and silver colorway. Like I said, not a whole lot of difference in the actual shoe itself. Really, the main difference is the rear part, which is the FLYEASE technology. And the reason why we even have FLYEASE in the first place is for people that might have issues or difficulties putting on, you know, just a shoe in general. Like, think about like adaptive athletes, maybe older people, maybe people that just are lazy like me. That is who the FLYEASE is for. So we have this rear piece of TPU that basically goes around just like the back panel here, and then it is sewn on right here with this little loop. And when you want to get your foot in the shoe, you just step on this and then you slide your foot in. You don't have to tie the laces. I mean, you have to tie them like maybe one time, and then from then on out, you just never have to tie them again. So you're basically just slipping your foot on into the shoe, and then when you want to take your foot out, you can step on this part again and then just slide your foot out. I actually just kind of hold this back part with my other foot and just slip my foot out. So with that FLYEASE technology, you do have a little bit more heel slip. That's just naturally how it's going to be, just because the ankle collar and opening of the shoe is just, it's a little bit bigger than the standard Metcon 6. You do have the option to lace lock your shoe, I guess that would make it a little bit better with the heel slip, but it would also make it a little bit harder to insert your foot into the shoe, which I already think is a little difficult in the first place. Once you have it all laced up to how you like it, it's not that easy to slide your foot in. It does take a little bit of work. It doesn't just kind of go in and out. So do keep that in mind. Another thing about the fit of the FLYEASE Metcon 6 is that I find that these ones run a little bit larger than the standard Metcon 6. As we know, the Metcon 5 had some sizing issues with that. With the Metcon 6, they did fix them, or the standard model one, so they do fit true to size. And these ones, in comparison to those, fit a little bit bigger, maybe a half size bigger. It hasn't really bothered me all that much. I feel like the space is fine, but I feel like that was done on purpose for people, like I said, like adaptive athletes, and maybe people that just have issues just getting their foot into the shoe in the first place. That might be to give them just a little bit more space and just make it easier for them to put the shoes on in general. I can't confirm or deny that, but that's just my guess. Otherwise, the shoe itself, performance-wise, is pretty much the same exact thing as the normal Metcon 6. It still has the dual density drop-in midsole, so we have the softer forefoot, and then we have the harder rear part of the shoe. And then you do get your hyperlift inserts with your FLYEASE Metcon 6, just like you would the standard Metcon 6. With the guys ones, it does come with an 8mm insert, and with the ladies, it does come with a 6mm insert. Another cool thing about this shoe is that while I thought these were going to be a lot heavier than the standard Metcon 6, they weigh barely more than what a normal Metcon 6 weighs. I think it was like 1/10 of an ounce more than a normal Metcon 6. So I don't know how they did it, whatever Nike wizardry they put into the FLYEASE Metcon 6, but I really appreciate that. In a world full of really heavy training shoes, I am trying to save all the weight that I can when I go into a workout. So there were a couple concerns that people had about this little FLYEASE spoiler in the back here. The number one concern that I heard is that people were worried that it would run into the wall while doing handstand push-ups, and it does, but you do have to try to make it touch the wall. I really had to put my foot into dorsiflexion or my ankle in dorsiflexion for it to even make any kind of contact with the wall. And even when it did, it wasn't that noticeable or obstructive at all. Another thing is that, and this is just kind of like a general Metcon 6 thing, is the upper peeling away from the outsole of the shoe at all. And in my shoes, I haven't run into that at all. It looks pretty sturdy. This pair of shoes has pretty much gone through everything. I haven't babied these shoes at all, and I don't really notice any. Let me check my other shoe. I don't really notice any kind of premature wear in that area at all. Nope, looks pretty solid, and I have absolutely no issues with durability yet so far. Another thing that people might be worried about is whether or not this like gets caught in like the rower footholds. It doesn't. I've put plenty of meters into this shoe and I've never run into that kind of issue. The heel clip is rubbing away a little bit, and that's mainly from doing handstand push-ups and doing rowing, but that is to be expected because of that being a hard piece of plastic. Otherwise, the shoes are still in really good shape. I mean, these have been my main training shoe for like the last month or so. If you want to know what my pick between like Metcon 6 and Nano 10 is, right now it's Metcon 6 just because I find that they're a little bit more versatile. Like if I'm doing a really heavy workout, then I'm probably gonna pick my Nano 10s. If I don't have to like run or jump or do anything like that and I'm just lifting, probably do my Nano 10s. But for pretty much everything else, I'm going with the Metcon 6 just because they're lighter, they're more comfortable. I can still lift just fine in my Metcon 6s. I do think that the drop-in midsole could be a little bit more responsive, but I think just putting in the hyperlift insert does stiffen it up just enough for me to not really be bothered by it. But otherwise, I think the Metcon 6s are just a more versatile shoe overall. So the FLYEASE Metcon 6 retails at $130, which is the standard Metcon 6 price. There's no difference there. I think the normal Metcon 6 is just it's gonna be fine for pretty much everybody, and I would still probably recommend that one just because it does have a little bit less heel slip. I don't think people, or most people, really need the FLYEASE technology unless, you know, you're like me and you're just kind of lazy to lace up your shoes. I really like just slipping on my shoes. I'll usually just tie it one time and then just slip my foot into it from then on out. So I find that the FLYEASE Metcons are much better than the normal Metcon 6s, just because I don't really care about the heel slip all that much, and I care more about the convenience of these shoes. But I think for most people, you know, the normal Metcon 6 is probably the way to go. But I really give props to Nike for designing a FLYEASE version of the Metcon 6. It shows that they're looking into adaptive athletes, or they really care, you know, about that space of the training sphere. So if you find yourself having difficulties putting on your shoes, or you are just a really lazy person like myself, I definitely recommend that you check out the FLYEASE Nike Metcon 6. If you guys have any questions about these shoes, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And as always, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.